Some mysteries that I have been led to find are so great that they have to be talked about more than once. I can't believe some of the things that I'm going to show you. I can't believe all of the things that I'm going to show you. The book of Revelation says clearly that the spirit of prophecy is the spirit of Jesus Christ, the Word. So, as I was led to find these things and look these things up, these things coming into my mind, leading me, like Romans 8 says, those who are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. There's absolutely no way that I could have thought to look these things up. I would be in total darkness if it was just on my own strength. So, here we go. If you've been with me for a while, you've probably heard some of this, but again, it is some of these connections. It's just too great a mystery to not talk about. Again, Elon Musk. The incredible things that I'm about to show you, there is no way to interpret what I'm about to show you any other way than what it says. Unlike Bible verses, where we can spin them any way we want to support what we believe or what we want to believe. In Numbers, there is no wiggle room. In Numbers, there is no argument on what it means. It's one way, and that's it. Did you know that the word Elon, Elon, is in our Strong's Concordance? Here it is, number 356, Elon. Terebinth, an Israelite name. Now the next part is very interesting. Also a Hittite. Also a city in Dan. So Elon can mean a Hittite. Well, I'm going to show you that that is 100% connected with the Elon of today. The Hittites are mostly known for their use and manufacture of iron tools, weapons, and armor. Most civilizations during their time could only smelt and work bronze, which was required the rare metal and ingredient tin, because iron was more abundant than tin. Iron metallurgy gave the Hittites a great advantage. Iron. What a coincidence that Elon of today is involved with artificial intelligence. Iron. And what a coincidence, which these things are not coincidences, that Daniel chapter 2 verse 43 says in the last days there is going to be a mixing of miry clay, which is flesh, and of iron, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as clay is not mixed with iron. This is Elon. This is a pattern, a repetitive pattern that is happening right before our very eyes. Now getting back to the number 356, which is in the concordance Elon. Could there be any higher significance or other significance to this number 356? In the Bible, there are 7 high holy days that God gave to man. And one of these is called the Feast of Trumpets. Many people are waking up to the significance of the Feast of Trumpets and the other high holy days. This is where you get the menorah from, showing these separate days for separate occasions. Now, in modern Judaism, they begin the year at the Feast of Trumpets, which happens on a different day every year, but it usually is in late September or early October on our calendar. The modern Jews or modern Judaism begins their year on the Feast of Trumpets. So this is a very, very, very significant day in modern Judaism. Now, how does the number 356 have anything to do with the Feast of Trumpets? Well, if you go to 2024, the year 2024, and start from the Feast of Trumpets, the first day of this feast, on October 2nd, and you go to 2025 on our calendar, and that Feast of Trumpets, the next year, which is September 23rd, you get a day count of 356. And 356 happens to be Elon in the Strong's Concordance. That's amazing to me. How can this be? How can the name Elon be connected to iron and artificial intelligence and the Hittites, in which the Hittites were one of the tribes that God fought against for Israel? And the number 356 have to do with the Jewish feast day of the Feast of Trumpets, and all going right through the middle of the year 2025. Well, it can be because this is it. It's all prophetic. Now, 2025. All this rolls right in the middle of 2025. Well, God showed me that if we're fruitful and we multiply 20 times 25, we get 500, and we look at the number 500 in the Strong's Concordance Greek, and that just happens to be Antichrist. And the amazing thing about 2025 also is that it is right smack dab in the middle of this 7-year cycle. The Jewish calendar works off of 7-year cycles. The 7th year is the year of release, and the first 6 years symbolic of the 6 days of creation, symbolic of the 6,000-year prophecy from the fall of Adam to the second coming or the return of Jesus Christ. 2025, right smack dab in the middle, leaving 42 months until the end of the 7-year cycle, all the way to 2029. Jacob's trouble. How precise is that? Now we get into numbers, gematria. Thousands of years ago, there was a system created called gematria, and it signified, or it showed, how every letter has a numerical value. And there are different types of gematria. There's Hebrew gematria, there's English gematria, and there's simple gematria. Now I'm going from what we are looking at today. There might be more. Now, what I'm going to show you next, if you aren't already completely dumbfounded like I have been with this information, what I'm going to show you next is just as great as what I've already shown you. This is the Gematria calculator on Google. That's all you have to Google is Gematria calculator. And type in any phrase and it will give you the numerical value in 3 different types of Gematria for whatever you type in. Now, as you see on the screen here, for the name Elon Musk, we have Hebrew Gematria 445, English Gematria 660, and Simple Gematria 110 or 110. These are the numerical values of the name Elon Musk in these 3 types of Gematria. And I'm going to show you that when you look these numbers up in the Strong's Concordance with everything that I've already shown you, you will know that none of this is a coincidence. And to the unbeliever, it reminds me really quickly of when unbelievers see miracles and then they believe. In the olden days of the church, there used to be lots of tongue talking and miracles, things like that. And in 1 Corinthians it says it was for a sign for the unbeliever to believe. Well, I think 99% of the things like that go on today are false. However, I believe that has been translated into our revelational information that an unbeliever can see videos like this to see that everything that is going on right now is absolutely supernatural and biblical, and just like the signs of old, they will believe. So we are going to look at first my favorite in the concordance, which is the numerical value for Elon Musk in English Gematria in the middle, 660. The number 660, as you can see on the screen, in the Hebrew means a kind of viper. Wasn't there a serpent in the garden? Doesn't the book of Revelation say that old serpent, the dragon called the devil, he's the one who gets cast into the fire? Well, isn't a viper could be also considered a serpent? Now, in the Greek, 660, which is Elon Musk in English Gematria, means I shake off. How can that be connected to a viper? Remember when Paul was bitten by a viper? And the Bible specifically says that he shakes it off. Acts chapter 28, verses 3 through 5, the King James Bible. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast, notice they call the viper a beast, hang on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he hath escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. And he shook off, there's I shake off and viper in the same thing right there. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. The amazing thing is that it's called also the beast, and he shakes it off in the fire. Just like in the book of Revelation, the beast is cast into the fire. What are the odds that the number 660 not only equals Elon Musk, but in the Hebrew and the Greek under that number, it would be this closely connected from the Hebrew 660 to the Greek 660, and then take it to the Bible, and then it is Elon Musk in gematria. There is no way, folks. This is, in my opinion, a modern day miracle. And don't forget that Jesus called the Pharisees vipers. That was one of the things that he called them. Vipers. Do you know another thing that Jesus called the Pharisees? He called them foxes. Actually, he used it in the singular. He says, go tell that fox. Talking about the wicked people who were trying to slay him. Well, do you know what the word fox adds up to in gematria? There's that number again, 356. Fox equals 356 in Hebrew gematria, which is the number in the concordance for Elon, and is the day count from 2024 Feast of Trumpets to 2025 Feast of Trumpets. How about that secret? Now, instead of English gematria, let's look at Elon Musk's name numerically in Hebrew gematria, and it equals 445. So let's take this to the Strong's Concordance. And of course, it makes all the sense in the world. On the left, you see 445. In Greek means act as deputy or proconsul. Now, wait a second. That's what the Antichrist is going to do. He's going to act as deputy. Now, look at the word proconsul. A proconsul was an official of ancient Rome who acted on behalf of a consul. A proconsul was typically a former consul. The term is also used in recent history for officials with delegated authority. Remember that they give all power and authority to one man? In the Roman Republic, military command or imperium could be exercised constitutionally only by a consul. Notice how it pointed out the military. He was given authority over the military command. That's what the Bible talks about when it talks about the Antichrist. He's given power over the military. You see how all this is adding up to the Antichrist? That the number 445, when you talk about it and define it, it says this in the concordance, i.e., in lieu or stead of anyone. Wait a second. Instead of somebody, in place of somebody. That is what Antichrist means. In place of Christ. In place, instead of somebody else. Now we move to the numerical value of the name Elon Musk in simple gematria, which is 110. And the number 110 in Hebrew on the left in the concordance means disciplined of God. Now that's amazing, because part of the strong delusion and the consequence or the discipline of God is sending a strong delusion, and the Antichrist, I do believe, has a lot to do with that. So the world will be disciplined of God, and of course the Antichrist in the end will be disciplined of God. And on the right side, 110 equals immortality, imperishability, and freedom from death. And this is kind of ironic because we see that when the Antichrist is thrown in the fire, he is there to suffer, as far as we can tell in the Bible, forever. There's no death for him either, it looks like. So, again, I've shown you guys these amazing things that God has led me to find. I could never have done it on my own. And the connections with Elon, the numbers, the Hittites, with the Feast of Trumpets, with the Strong's Concordance, with the Bible verses, it's all just way too much to not talk about over and over and over. But the world, trust me, the world, look at how they accept him, look at how they love him, and look at how they are so deceived. If you don't understand everything that is going on can be tracked and traced, like I've just shown you, to prove that it's all biblical and that it is supernatural and that there is a God, then you'll just fall right into the trap of loving and accepting whoever and whatever the world puts out there for you to accept. It's amazing. Now, one last amazing connection is that I've shown how Elon Musk, if you do a side-by-side with him and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they look very similar. And I believe that is because, one of the reasons is because they're both from German descent. They're both from probably the exact same bloodline. And it goes way back. But it's interesting to me how Arnold Schwarzenegger plays the artificial intelligence in The Terminator. You know, symbolic of Mr. Musk, right? Here in these last days. So closely connected with AI and all these things. We know that they put these things in movies. So the scene that comes to my mind over and over is when they lower Arnold Schwarzenegger, the artificial intelligent entity, into the pool of burning hot lava. I can just see it right there, the lake of fire, and lowering or putting in the Antichrist. And also he was lowered down into the lake of fire, symbolically, on a chain. And in Jude chapter 1 verse 6, it talks about the angels that kept not their first estate, but left their own habitations, were in chains of darkness until that great day, the judgment day. And isn't that ironic? Because that Terminator movie that he was lowered down into the lake of fire was called none other than Judgment Day.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah,